All right, I'm ready. You guys are live. Ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventures in the Magic Kingdom, a race featuring the world record holder Bent Glass Tube, also known as BGT, and Unos XX, so we just call him Unos. I am Angry Larry, joined with Dark Magician 1184. How are you?
I'm doing pretty okay. We need to mention that Unos used to have the world record. He just barely lost that.
Yeah, just barely, and we'll be going over the history of this game and trying to convince other people to play it as well during the race. But what is your take on this game?
Well, I was introduced to this game from a tournament, the Elite Tournament, and I had a lot of fun playing it. There's a lot to it. Some of the platforming is really exciting, but there are some basically auto-scrollers in it that people get to enjoy to watch.
Yeah, both players did discover this game in Elite Season 6, where BGT was the runner-up and Unos in his bracket was the winner. And there's promotion and relegations. We'll spare you the details, but both players are very adept at this game. Both of them got world records while running it, and both of them have broken that magic sub 10-minute mark that was previously not done.
Yeah, there's a lot of work put in behind the scenes by a lot of people to work towards sub 10. For that, when we first started this, it was I believe a 10:15 was the world record.
Yeah, we'll give you the history of the world records as well as dropping a bunch of names. So if you are over the age of 21 and you have some drinks near you, take a shot every time we drop a name, or just go follow them on Twitch whenever we say somebody. Why don't you go ahead and start us off here? What are we expecting as soon as the game starts?
All right, so if anybody's ever been to... they want us to give them the countdown. You go ahead and do that, and I'll give the...
Yeah, no problem. They'll start for you guys the race in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And I'm not sure if I was supposed to say 2 and 1 or just give the hand gestures, but go ahead.
So this game, is, you've noticed already, if you've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World, is based in the Magic Kingdom of the Disney Resort amusement parks. It was developed by Capcom in the early 90s. Goofy is a horse. Or Dippy Dog.
And they make their way to the first attraction. So you saw a couple trivia questions there. There's 2 trivia questions in the beginning in the route. And then you go into what is Space Mountain. And Space Mountain is kind of like a QTE kind of thing. You just got to press the buttons that show up on your screen. It's a very set pattern. There's only a couple deviations where it makes you choose left or right. One of the options loops you around and you do a couple extra. And then there's the optimal route. And then whenever there's a button press, it'll be on the left side for B or right side on the for A. That is not, the button presses are static, but which button is not static?
Right, so all the direction buttons are going to be the same the entire race. And if you see a battleship, you'll be pressing B. If you see an asteroid, you'll be pressing A.
Both players have 3 hearts when they start Space Mountain. Unos is already down to 2. If you get down to no hearts, you have to start the whole thing all over again. And you definitely don't want to do that because it's about 2 minutes long. It's almost technically an auto-scroller. You have no control over getting faster. And button presses, I guess you can press at an optimal time, but that's about it.
Even with the button presses, it goes all on a set time. There's no speeding this entire section up.
So while we're watching Space Mountain here, I got a couple of nuggets here for these 2 runners. This is the second time they're racing this game head-to-head or in one race. There was a 3-way race that happened earlier on where Unos finished second and Bent Glass Tube did finish third. And for the series, there has been a bunch of races between these 2 players across many, many games. And Unos has won every single one of them.
Yeah, lots of randomizers from them. Zelda 1 randomized, Zelda 2, Final Fantasy, Dragon Warrior, Link to the Past.
Well, I should mention that there were 3 races where BGT beat Unos, but Unos did forfeit all those for technical difficulties. But we're moving on from Space Mountain to Artopia.
Yeah, and this one is another auto-scroller, if you want to call it. You can go faster and slower by using the brake or the accelerator, but the main difference in the speedrun is the lag management by these guys. What they'll be trying to do is getting rid of these cars that are on the road, because if there's more than one car on the road, it's going to cause a lot of lag on the screen. So they'll be knocking them off as soon as they can to free up that sweet RAM.
And you do want to collect a bunch of stars here. Stars enable you to take some power-ups that they'll be utilizing later on. You get the majority, if not all of them here while you can, and then you don't have to jump for extra ones later on.
So here at this bridge, they have to wait for the entire thing to form. There's no going early on it at all. And another thing they gotta be very careful of are these ledges when they're doing the jumps. If they're just barely out of bounds, it will knock them and they have to start the entire thing over, which is again another minute worth of work.
Yeah, sometimes you can land on a car as well and get bumped out of bounds, even though it doesn't look like you are. But we're in the second round of trivia here. We got to get 3 different questions here on the route before we move on to the next attraction. What was your favorite question, Dark Magician, during the whole tournament?
Well, I think everybody's favorite question was, what is Donald Duck's middle name?
And if anybody wants to give a crack at that who doesn't already previously know, throw your guesses in chat. I am very fond of what animal is Goofy, because we all know he's a horse. And we'll definitely never let some people live down not knowing who Chip and Dale are.
They were friends with Gadget, if I'm not wrong.
I'm pretty sure you're right. There were 53 total questions in this game. If you get them all right, you only see 8 of them. What do we have here?
We're at the Pirates of the Caribbean or Pirates of the Caribbean. Take your pick. There's been a lot of work put into this one.
Yeah, this stage and the next stage probably had the most work done. Again, we have to give a shout out to Link_777, Link Sevens, who developed the tasks for this game and gave us a lot of strategies that we weren't really running with. Nearm and EERRM. He played this game early on and set some good times for people to beat. And he was doing a lot of stuff that then the world record wasn't doing. And then Link took it a step above that. And then, other people contributed to. You actually had a technique that was contributed. I had a technique that was contributed. And then we finally got it under sub 10. And only these 2 people were able to execute it. Got simultaneous Magooing going on right there as Magoo tries to get our character. We haven't named the character. We haven't spoken about the lore of this game. His name's Bamboo 7, aka Long Arms.
Yeah, there's actually a great article that was written all about this game's development here. It can be linked in chat later on if somebody's willing to. But it's a nice read. It really gives you some insight into game development.
Both players are neck and neck here. They both did hit the torchlight at the end of the Pirates of the Caribbean, which does you throw the torch as you're about to light it, and you skip the sequence where Long Arms runs into the boat and runs off the screen. You sit there for a little bit of time, but you actually save time overall. And we have Fauntleroy in chat, so if anybody has questions for him, please feel free to ask.
So this is another stage where it's mainly holding right and lots of efficient jumping. Like we said, a lot of work went into the task in this level right here alone to save some major time. against Dragon's previous world record, which was a 10:02.
Got Swag Candle and Top Route on BGT's end. Both of them, well, no, BGT gets knocked backwards. Yunos does get the damage boost there, which works well because you're high up and you get knocked back pretty far. Anywhere else you try to take a damage boost, it really doesn't work too well. Got Sticky Chair as well.
So Yunos went for what we call the task chairs, which is a ability to jump within a couple of frames onto these chairs and load the chandelier early. But unfortunately, he got dragged backwards and it unloaded the chandelier, so he didn't save any of that.
Did you say chandelier?
I'm pretty sure I said chandelier.
Okay. But here we go. We have a couple jumps here. This was a tricky part early on in the tournament that both these players were in, where timing on the books, if you stood in the middle of the chair, some of those books were right about to hit you when you were about to throw the candle. So a lot of people got knocked off, a lot of people fell, a lot of people got frustrated. The ghost spawn. Why don't you talk about the ghost spawn here?
So this ghost final boss,
Car wash.
He won't spawn. He will not spawn unless you are scrolling the screen one direction or the other. So if you do not move, you'll never see the boss. And that was something that really complicated some of the runners who first started playing this game.
And we have Yunos did get it correctly that Goofy was a dog and not a horse. First station for Bent Glass Tube here. I don't know where where Yunos is going, but this is another sort of like Space Mountain where you're on a rail and you have to kind of like, press buttons left or right to go on tracks. There are dead ends, there are pitfalls, there are boulders, there are ways to deplete health. Both players are on 1 health. And if you miss the thing, you just kind of have to do it all over.
Yeah, so they purposely went ahead and tanked those damages because you can break in this level. You can hit the B button and slow down. And by doing it frame perfectly, you do actually save time. But it's impossible to know what frames you're supposed to be doing the break. It's a very task-only.
Yeah, and you can accidentally turn way more than you're supposed to. We call it the Station 2 there for Yunos. Call it the random effect Australian hook turn, where if you pass the turn and then hit the button real quick, the D-pad, it will still like put you right on the turn. You'll just jump right over the dirt. It's funny and annoying at the same time. Final stretch here, Dark Magician.
Yeah, here's the final. These are the final 2 questions, and you get them consecutively. And as you see, Yunos missed the second question, and it costs him.
Yeah, Bent Glass Tube steals the victory right when Yunos was about to pull it home. I didn't see what question it was. Did you?
I didn't either. I saw his first question. I missed the second one. But GG to both these runners.
Accidental button press. That was a double tap, or whatever you call it when the controller inputs a press on its own.
Phantom
GG
input.
to both as well. I'm sorry?
A phantom input?
Phantom input works for me. Absolutely. Any final thoughts on this game?
No, just if you enjoyed it, go give it a try. Like I said, those platforming sections are absolutely a blast. They were very well done. This game controls very well, despite what it may look like. And if you love Disney...
If you do love short game races as well, I would encourage everyone to root on both these runners in Elite Season 7. And stay tuned and check out everyone else's run in the Best of NES tournament. Or not tournament, but marathon, sorry.
Thanks for having us.